Chile is excited as she realizes how valuable the inlay stones are. She says that on the market, one of these stones could sell for tens to hundreds of thousands. They could all retire early if they sell just one. Feya is equally thrilled, adding that if they managed to grab all 3 stones, they'd be rich beyond their wildest dreams. The king, seeing how eager the warriors are, laughs. He can feel the excitement in the air. He's almost impressed by how quickly the warriors are already thinking about their rewards. He reminds everyone that this energy is exactly what the selection is about: competitive spirits ready to win big. The moment arrives to begin the 3rd stage of the selection. The minister, standing proudly, tells the warriors that he's sure they've been waiting eagerly for this. He says that they are about to enter the arena, but before that, they need to hear the rules. Only 32 warriors have made it this far, and now they'll face off in a series of 5 rounds. The challenge is simple. They must either knock their opponent out of the ring or force them to admit defeat. The warriors will be tested on their strength, skill, and ability to think quickly under pressure. The champion of this event will earn not only experience and gold, but also the chance to make first picks from a list of rewards. They can choose a party to help with the task of rescuing the princess. And as an added bonus, each warrior who joins the rescue mission will be able to select one item from the royal treasury, a collection filled with rare and valuable treasures. The warriors know this is their chance to shine and are already planning how they'll spend their rewards. It feels a bit like a shopping spree, except with more danger and fewer lines to wait in. Each player is assigned a number, and after a few moments, the system announces that the matching is complete. The first duel is set between the warriors with numbers 4 and 13. The warriors are called to enter the arena, and numbers appear above their heads, letting everyone know who they'll face. Luna sees that her number is 7, Louli's is 4, Chile's is 27, Afi's is 26, and Huajiao's is 18. Luna gives a quick smile and tells Louli that he's first to fight. Louli, looking ready for the challenge, says it's time for the show to begin. Huajiao, being the self-proclaimed supportive wife, calls out to Louli and reminds him not to lose. Louli remembers his past battles in the arena. He thinks about how different it feels to be here again, in the same arena, but this time as a competitor in the selection, not as a boss. He steps forward, ready for whatever the duel brings. The crowd in the stands erupts into cheers as the warriors enter the arena. Their energy fills the air, eager to watch the first duel. Louli's opponent steps into the arena as well, and suddenly, his face shifts in surprise. He recognizes his opponent. The shock of seeing this familiar face almost makes him want to say something, but he stops himself. His opponent asks him if something's wrong. The words catch Louli off guard. His opponent turns out to be someone he knows all too well, Passerby King, a player Louli had defeated before in the arena. Louli had been the one to end Passerby King's game, and he hadn't expected to face him again. Passerby King, however, isn't fazed by the recognition. A sly smile spreads across his face. He feels that after a long silence, today is his time to shine. He remembers the system's earlier message congratulating him on his victory over the elite boss, one-armed Aon, and the reward he received, a sword. The sword wasn't just a trophy, it was a symbol of his strength, and he knew it. He recalls the skeleton boss that had killed him after 28 failed attempts, but now he's better. He's stronger. Passerby King thinks maybe he should thank that skeleton boss for pushing him to become who he is today, the lone and mighty wolf. Nothing can stand in his way. His sword and body glow with a blue aura, and he stands tall, ready to face whatever comes his way. He confidently invites Louli to attack, certain that this time he won't lose. However, before he can even take a step, Louli moves like lightning. In one swift motion, his blade slices through the air, piercing Passerby King's heart before he even has a chance to react. At first, Passerby King is stunned, unable to comprehend what just happened. His eyes widen as the realization hits him he's been defeated. His mind races, and he can hardly believe it. This can't be happening, he mutters to himself. He hadn't even had a chance to attack, let alone use his powerful fusion technique. This doesn't count right. He insists on another chance, as if his defeat doesn't matter. But deep down, he can't shake the feeling that something about this situation feels eerily familiar. Louli, having effortlessly won the duel, tosses his blade aside, clearly uninterested in continuing the fight. The Passerby King's mouth is still running, even after the loss. It's almost like a broken record that refuses to stop. The minister announces that number 4, Louli, has made quick work of number 13 and congratulates him for making it to the top 16. The crowd cheers as Louli stands tall, his victory clear. Meanwhile, the head of the Daybreak Guild, who's been watching the battle closely, turns to another player, number 3, and asks if this is the one they failed to kill earlier. The player no. 3 nods, confirming his words. He mutters this one's quite interesting, clearly intrigued by Louli's skill. Feya, who's been listening, is not pleased by the conversation. He points to himself with a frown, muttering that Louli is his target. He clearly intends to make Louli his next prey, but given the speed at which Louli is winning, Feya might want to rethink that plan. The minister then announces the next round, inviting the next participants to enter the arena. The atmosphere is tense as the fighters step forward, ready for their turn. One by one, the results of the battles are shared with the audience. Next, contestant number 7, Luna, enters the arena and in no time defeats her opponent using a fast, colorful sword technique, something that looks almost like a dance in the air. It's graceful and deadly, and she makes it to the top 16 list. Then contestant number 26, Ah enters the arena. With flames engulfing his hands, he grabs his opponent in a fiery hold. The minister can smell the burning from the arena and comments, "How cruel," as the crowd watches the intense scene unfold. Ah makes it to the top 16 list. Next, Huajiao enters the arena ready for her fight. And with a single punch, she throws her opponent high into the air. The crowd gasps in awe as the minister remarks that she has broken her opponent's defense with ease and landed a perfect blow. She also makes it to the top 16. The battles are intense and each warrior seems more impressive than the last. The competition is getting fiercer and everyone knows that only the strongest will survive this selection. The head of the Daybreak Guild looks at player number 3 and asks if Huajiao's techniques and habits are similar to the girl he mentioned before. Number 3 thinks for a moment, then replies that he's about 80% sure it's her. His tone suggests he's not entirely certain, but there's a strong resemblance. After the fight ends, the minister announces that the next match will be between participant number 27, Chile, and number 6, Daybreak Guild's Diane. He calls on the participants to step forward. Diane walks confidently toward the arena, flashing a smile as she declares to her guild member that it's her turn now. The Daybreak Guild master, watching closely, tells her to keep her usual practice mentality, balancing tension with relaxation. It's clear she's done this many times before, but the pressure of the competition might still get to her. Meanwhile, Ah offers his support to Chile, telling her to defeat her opponent. Chile, always confident, stretches her arms and casually declares that it's all nothing. Huajiao smiles warmly and teases her, saying that if Chile loses, there'll be no hot pot for dinner. It's a playful threat, but the message is clear. Winning is important. Just as the two girls enter the arena, the players watching from the sidelines exchange surprised looks. They comment that it's rare to see professional players so close up. The excitement builds, and one player, curious about the strength of the Daybreak Guild, mentions how he's eager to see how the famous members compare to the rest of them. The Daybreak Guild's reputation precedes them, and he is eager to see if they live up to it. Chile stands ready for battle, her eyes focused on her opponent. She asks if the Daybreak Guild is truly as strong as people say. With confidence, she declares that no matter how good Diane is, there will always be someone better. Diane, in response, laughs and mocks that while Chile has a small chest, her ego is much bigger. Chile is caught off guard by her teasing remark. She exclaims, her cheeks turning red with embarrassment. The comment stings a little, but it quickly fuels her temper. Annoyed, she jumps into action, calling Diane a fool and proudly declaring that flat chests are actually fashionable. Diane, seeing that she's gotten under Chile's skin, asks if she's angry. She's about to say more, but before she can finish her sentence, Chile makes her move. She suddenly leaps into the air, aiming to kick Diane and telling her to shut up. Diane manages to dodge the kick just in time, but Chile isn't finished. She shouts at her opponent not to try dodging again. Diane, unbothered by the words, turns around and looks up at Chile, who's now spinning midair preparing for her next strike. With a burst of fire, Chile launches a fiery attack. The audience gasps, impressed by the beauty and power of the move. The minister comments on it, noting how the fire strike looks incredible, adding to the excitement of the match. Chile's strike is followed by a rapid pursuit as she continues to press the attack. Diane, however, uses her skill, reverse thrust, to dodge the fiery strike, although it's clear she's still injured. She grins, clearly enjoying the challenge, and announces that things are about to get more serious. Diane raises her hand, and the multicolored stones on her gloves start to sparkle, glowing with energy. She then uses her summoning technique, calling forth the undead fiery spirit. A purple portal appears next to her hand, and from it a hound bursts forth, running straight toward Chile with lightning speed. Chile watches the hound with a mix of surprise and focus. She quickly realizes that Diane is a summoner. The hound's speed is impressive, but Chile knows that summoned creatures often have a predictable movement pattern. If she can just predict its next move, she should be able to handle it. The hound charges toward her. Chile leaps backward and counters with a brilliant flash of fire, trying to catch the hound in the flames. But to her shock, the hound charges through the fire without hesitation, continuing to approach her. The fiery curtain is ineffective, and Chile's confidence falters slightly. Just as the hound gets close, it attacks, and a powerful explosion of purple energy erupts from the creature. The blast sends Chile flying backward, her body slammed by the force of the explosion. She screams as she's thrown back, surprised by the unexpected power of her opponent's summon. Feya calls out to Chile in concern. Meanwhile, her sister Huojiao observes the fight carefully and points out a key problem. The summon hound has a high resistance to fire, which greatly reduces the damage Chile's fire attacks can cause. It's a small but important detail that changes everything for Chile. The hound returns to its owner, and Diane laughs, clearly enjoying herself. She taunts Chile, telling her that if she doesn't want to embarrass herself even more, she should give up now. The dog barks in agreement, and Chile, fuming with determination, demands to know if Diane is seriously asking her to surrender. But Chile isn't one to give up easily. Fueled by frustration, she charges forward, her hands glowing with fiery energy. She summons fiery meteors, launching them toward her opponent. The meteors explode mid-air, but the hound leaps in front of Diane, batting them away with ease. Diane smirks, saying it's all useless, a waste of energy. It's a setback, but Chile refuses to back down. With a fierce look in her eyes, Chile creates a fiery tornado. The flames swirl around her, forming a massive storm of fire that heads straight toward Diane. The arena is filled with the bright, dangerous flames. Feya watches, his eyes wide with admiration, as Chile's attack unfolds. He mutters to himself that it's so beautiful, the way Chile is using fire to control the battlefield. The tornado is relentless, its heat fierce enough to affect both Diane and her hound. Just as the flames approach, Diane shields her face with one hand, trying to protect herself from the intense heat. But instead of retreating, she orders the hound to charge forward and protect her. The hound obeys without hesitation, rushing into the fiery storm to shield its owner. However, in the heat of the moment, Diane doesn't notice Chile's next move. From behind the fiery tornado, Chile appears in a bright flash, faster than expected. Before Diane can react, Chile raises her hand, ready to strike. With a confident voice, she declares that this is the end. Diane is shocked to witness Chile behind her. She wonders aloud, when did she manage to get here? But before she can make a move, Chile unleashes a massive explosion, the force of it sending Diane flying into the air. The minister watches with awe and declares Chile's combination of moves beautiful. He notes that contestant number 27 used her fiery powers and quick thinking to disorient Diane and then landed a powerful kick from behind. It seems like the battle is over and the outcome is clear. Chile smiles, feeling victorious. She's confident that the fight is hers. But just as she celebrates, Feya suddenly calls out, warning her to be careful. Huojiao, her sister, points to Diane and tells Chile to look closely. To her surprise, Diane isn't dead yet. In fact, she's far from it. Diane lifts the mask covering her face, revealing glowing eyes. The colorful stones on her gloves sparkle once again, and Chile feels a wave of unease. Diane then performs another summoning technique. This time, she creates 5 offensive and defensive circles, one for each of her summoned creatures. The air fills with energy as powerful attacks from all 5 creatures slam into Chile. She screams in pain, unable to dodge the barrage of elements hitting her from every direction. The spirits of different elements surround Diane, each glowing with power. She calmly apologizes to Chile, explaining that she forgot to mention she can summon more than just one animal. Chile's body shakes from the force of the hits, and she struggles to stay on her feet, realizing too late how much more powerful her opponent truly is. The minister is stunned by the display, announcing that it's a nightmare for contestant number 27. He praises Diane, saying that she's managed to summon 5 creatures with different attributes at once, all while staying remarkably calm and collected. It's a show of immense skill and strength. And as for Chile, she's unable to stand after the brutal attack. The crowd watches in silence as Diane's victory is confirmed. The minister congratulates her, saying she's made it to the top 16. The glory of the Daybreak Guild is truly deserved, and Diane's rank in the guild is mentioned, number 6. There's some curiosity about whether the rankings in the guild have any connection to their performance here in the arena, but that will be revealed later during the next match. After the dust settles and the arena clears, Diane begins to repair her equipment, casually fixing the damage done during the battle. It's clear she's ready for whatever comes next. Feya and Huojiao help Chile out of the arena, both concerned for her well-being. Feya asks if she's okay, while Huojiao tries to comfort her, saying her performance was good. It's just that her opponent's abilities were the perfect counter to hers. Chile, however, isn't feeling any better. She purses her lips, clearly disappointed. She admits that she really lost and can't hide her frustration. Feeling the weight of her defeat, Chile starts crying. She's upset and ashamed. Seeing her like this, Luna approaches her gently, trying to calm her down. She reassures Chile that it's not her fault. Sometimes the fight just doesn't go your way. Huojiao awkwardly smiles and adds that if she matches up against her in next matches, she will beat her to a pulp for her. Chile wipes away her tears, trying to push the sympathy aside. She tells them not to console her, she's fine. With newfound determination, she steps away from the group and announces, a bit angrily, that she'll make sure she never loses again to someone who mocks her for her flat chest. Feya sighs in confusion and not quite sure how to react. Huojiao, on the other hand, laughs nervously and says she now understands why Chile was so upset. Meanwhile, Louli and Luna watch the members of the Daybreak Guild carefully. Luna comments that their guild members are incredibly strong. Each one seems to be a real challenge to face. It's clear they'll need to step up their game if they want to win this competition. The minister then announces that the battle between Chile and Diane was a fantastic duel. He notes that although contestant No. 27's performance was already very impressive, contestant No. 6's strength is unfathomable. He adds that the Daybreak Guild's members are all so powerful, there's no telling what they'll do next. His assistant agrees, and they both eagerly anticipate the next match. The next fighter to enter the arena is a member of the Daybreak Guild, contestant number 5, Feya. His opponent seems to be struggling. Feya smiles confidently and starts throwing punch after punch. He taunts his opponent, calling him weak as he overwhelms them. Feya's punches land with precision, while his opponent tries desperately to protect himself with a shield. However, Feya is too powerful, and just after a few seconds, he breaks through his opponent's defense with ease and sends him flying out of the arena. The minister, watching from the sidelines, comments on Feya. He says Feya is like a wolf with its fangs bared and his opponent never stood a chance. He adds that his opponent was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered, completely unable to strike back. The minister announces that now it's time to see the performance of Diane, the third member of the Daybreak Guild. The crowd watches as Diane enters the arena with a confident smile. He pulls an arrow from his quiver, preparing for battle. His opponent, a man with a confident air, sizes him up. He thinks to himself that Diane is just another man, so there's no need to worry too much. He believes he can easily parry the incoming arrow. But as soon as the battle begins, Diane fires his arrow with incredible precision. The opponent raises his sword, ready to deflect the attack. However, to his horror, the moment the arrow meets the blade, it splits into several smaller arrows, each one changing direction and circling around the sword. The arrows dart toward him from all sides, and he realizes too late that this isn't an ordinary shot. It's a crushing shot. The opponent's confidence quickly turns to panic. The arrows move too fast, and before he can react, they pierce his body from every direction. Blood sprays out as he crumbles to the ground, falling to his knees in defeat. The arena falls silent, the audience stunned by the sheer skill on display. The minister comments on Diane's technique, calling it fearsome. He explains that each arrow from the crushing shot hit its target with perfect accuracy, striking vital points. What seemed like a simple shot was, in fact, the result of first-class calculations and technique. It was a display of mastery that left the audience in awe. The next participants enter the arena. One of them is contestant number 2, Li Dao from the Daybreak Guild. She charges forward with lightning speed. Her opponent, caught off guard, freezes in place, trying to focus on her movements. But before he can react, Li Dao is already upon him, moving faster than he expected. In an instant, she strikes him under the chin with her hand, sending him flying upward. And as he begins to fall, Li Dao quickly turns around, using her momentum to swing her leg with perfect precision. The powerful kick lands right in his stomach, sending him crashing out of the arena and into the wall. The minister watches in amazement and comments on contestant number 2's incredible speed. He says that she struck her opponent down without even drawing her sword. Her movements were so fast, it was like lightning. One moment he was there, the next, he was thrown out of the arena. The crowd is stunned by the display of skill and agility. The minister announces the next battle, and the leader of the Daybreak Guild steps into the arena. The audience falls silent, eagerly waiting for the fight to begin. But as soon as the match starts, the player faces an unexpected turn of events. Instead of launching an attack, the Daybreak Guild leader Shuang begins giving instructions. Shuang approaches his opponent, who's holding his weapon nervously. However, to his surprise, Shuang doesn't attack, but instead starts pointing out flaws in his form. The player holds his weapon in a way that makes it nearly impossible to land a successful blow, so Shuang calmly suggests improvements. The player, unsure but willing to learn, listens attentively. Shuang steps closer and directs the player's focus on his stance. He explains that the player should be holding the axe with both hands and delivering powerful blows. The player hesitates but adjusts his grip, trying to follow the instructions. Shuang isn't finished yet, though. He guides him to raise his arms higher and use his lower back for strength, instead of relying on just his arms. The player, unsure of the technique, attempts to comply, but Shuang isn't satisfied. He encourages the player to adjust further, insisting that strength comes from the lower back, not the buttocks. The player struggles to get the posture right but keeps trying, his nervousness growing with each adjustment. Finally, after a few more attempts, Shuang seems satisfied. He praises the player's progress, but mentions that time is running out and suggests he should just admit defeat. The player, now feeling a mix of exhaustion and confusion, takes a deep breath and admits defeat. He bows respectfully to Shuang, thankful for the advice but knowing he is no match for the seasoned leader. The minister covers his face with his palm and sighs. He did not expect this. He turns to his assistant, mentioning how tired he is of the ongoing matches. With a resigned tone, he asks the assistant to take over the commentary. His assistant, eager to step up, agrees with enthusiasm, and the next set of participants are called into the arena. The new match begins and both players enter with their blades drawn. However, instead of engaging in an intense duel, one of them pauses and asks if they really need to continue fighting. The other player, with a deep sigh, agrees, noting that they're both just wasting time. He suggests they quit the fight and move on. The spectators, watching from the stands, are not pleased with this decision. Their discontent is clear as an annoyed roar rises from the crowd, echoing throughout the arena. The match ends not with a battle, but with a quiet surrender, leaving the audience frustrated and disappointed. Louli, standing in the arena, watches the scene unfold. He realizes that the other competitors are also losing their drive to fight, and at this point, it's clear that all that is left to battle against the Daybreak Guild then. The minister and his assistant comment on the situation. They agree that Daybreak's overwhelming lead is likely pushing the competition to speed up. With this, the minister announces the list of the 8 strongest participants. The list includes Shuang, Lei Dao, Weijin, Feya, Louli, Afi, and Huozhou. And the last place in the top 8 will be decided between Diane, contestant number 6, and Luna, contestant number 7. Chile encourages Luna with determination, telling her that she should aim to overpower that bitch, knock her down, and make sure she stays face down on the ground. Afi joins in, offering his support as well, and Luna, feeling bolstered by their words, thanks them both, promising to give it her best shot. As she heads toward the arena, Louli wishes her luck. Luna gives a reassuring sign, letting him know everything will be fine. The moment both girls step into the arena, the crowd erupts in cheers, chanting the name of the Daybreak Guild, showing strong support for Diane. And just as the two girls approach each other, Diane taunts Luna, asking if she's the partner of that flat-chested girl. She teases that it looks like Luna has bigger assets than hers. She asks if her strength is also proportionally bigger. Luna, unbothered, calmly replies that Diane will find out soon enough. She then challenges her, daring her to try her. Luna suggests she should summon all 5 of her beasts right now. In response, Diane summons 2 portals behind her, from which emerge spirits of fire and water. She confidently declares that she will call on all her beasts if necessary, but only if she feels Luna is strong enough to deserve it. Luna, unfazed by the challenge, closes her eyes and focuses. She places her hand on the hilt of her sword, preparing to unleash her power. She activates the Star Radiance execution technique. A brilliant flash of light suddenly bursts from her and Diane. Taken aback by the intensity, quickly covers her eyes from the intense light coming from Luna. She points forward and orders her spirits to attack, trying to keep Luna from getting any closer. But by the time she's ready, Luna is already on the move, charging toward her from the side. Diane notices this and tries to react just in time. Luna doesn't waste a second. She swings her sword with precision and Diane jumps back, raising a water shield to block the attack. She thinks she successfully avoided the blow and feels a bit relieved. If she had stayed just a moment longer, she wouldn't have been able to defend herself, but before she can even finish that thought, something unexpected happens. Luna's strike cuts through her blindfold, and despite the shield, she manages to land a blow on Diane. Luna tells Diane that in their last fight, she must have secretly used her water attribute summons to counter the fire attacks. She adds that Diane shouldn't act so relaxed this time. If she fights seriously, it will be more respectful to both herself and her opponent. Watching the battle with great interest, Chile agrees with Luna, nodding enthusiastically, saying that Luna is absolutely right. She encourages her to go all out and finish the fight quickly. Afi supports Chile's words, adding that Luna should make this a swift win. Meanwhile, Weijin warns that Luna might be underestimating her opponent. Shuang, watching from the sidelines, crosses his arms and agrees with Luna's approach, saying that her words are exactly right. He hopes this fight serves as a valuable lesson for Diane. Meanwhile, Feya, sitting next to them, yawns and says he's bored. He's eager for his turn in the arena. Diane, now grinning, mocks Luna, saying that just because she landed a scratch, she thinks she can win. She decides to go all in. She calls on all of her spirits to attack, ready to teach Luna a lesson. The spirits rush forward with great speed. The fire hound and the water spirit work together, sending a powerful stream of fire and water straight at Luna. But Luna is quick to react, leaping into the air just in time. As she's airborne, Luna spots a golden spirit approaching. It flaps its wings, and with a flash of energy, sharp feather projectiles shoot toward her. Some hit, causing her to wince as they pierce her skin. Luna lands gracefully, her focus never wavering. Without wasting a moment, she turns sharply to the side, only to see a tree spirit's hand slam the ground, summoning vines from below. Luna tries to dodge, but it's too late. The vines grab her leg tightly, trapping her in place. At the same time, the earth spirit uses its ability, the earth coffin. Stones suddenly rise from beneath Luna's feet, trapping her inside a stone coffin. The ground shakes, and with a loud roar, the stones seal her in place. Diane clenches her fist in victory, smiling triumphantly. She says that in the end, the fight was too easy for her. Hoja, watching from the sidelines, commented that even Luna was unable to defeat Diane. Fei quickly interrupts, saying she could still win. Hoja reflects that the combination of the 5 attribute beasts gives Diane a strong advantage, much higher than in the previous battle. Chile, however, grows angry and mutters under her breath, calling Diane a nasty girl. Louli stays silent, his eyes focused on the arena, still waiting for what comes next. He knows Luna has something up her sleeve. The spirits all return to Diane, who is already celebrating her apparent victory. She praises them for their work, but just as she finishes speaking, Luna and Louli think at the same time, now is the time to act. In the blink of an eye, Luna uses a powerful sword technique called Giant Sword Slash. The stone coffin cracks open. Luna leaps out of the coffin with a swift movement, raising her sword high. Diane stares at her, wide-eyed, unable to react in time. Luna swings her sword down with incredible force, sending a wave of dust and debris flying in all directions. For a moment, everything goes quiet. The arena floor shakes, and as the dust clears, everyone sees that Diane is protected by a strong barrier made of earth, wood, and water. The attack didn't break through, but it's clear Luna isn't done yet. Luna keeps up the pressure, relentlessly attacking with her sword. Slowly but surely, the barrier starts to crack under her strikes. But just as the barrier is about to break, the other spirits rush in to help. The firehound barks loudly, and the golden spirit, joined by the other creatures, attacks from the air. Luna parries their blows and quickly retreats. Diane, watching from behind her barrier, starts to panic. Her hands start to shake, and she can feel her confidence slipping away. She feels sick, like something heavy is pressing on her chest. Her mind starts to drift back to her childhood, to the memories she'd rather forget. She sees herself sitting alone against a wall, crying softly as the sounds of chaos swirl around her. Her parents are fighting again. Her father is furious, shouting at her mother, accusing her of being impossible to live with. He yells at her mother, asking her why she is always so on edge day after day. Her mother, equally upset, is yelling back, calling him all sorts of names, but neither of them pays attention to her. They don't even notice that their daughter is crying, her small body shaking with every word they say. They continue, oblivious to her pain, until they finally start pointing fingers at her. She feels the weight of their anger, the blame on her. She tries to block it out, but the tears keep falling. Time passes and she grows older. The pain doesn't go away. At school, things don't get better. The girls there pick on her, calling her names, treating her like an outsider. One of them slaps her across the face and taunts her, asking if she's secretly taken her boyfriend away from her. Diane quickly denies what the girl says, but the words only make the situation worse. The girl sneers and starts making cruel comments about Diane's family. She says that her parents are getting a divorce because her mother cheated on her father. The girl adds that Diane looks just like her mother, as if that's a bad thing. Then the girl grabs Diane by the hair and starts talking about how some guys think her eyes are pretty and innocent. She accuses Diane of pretending to be sweet, as if she's just acting. Another girl in the group pulls out her phone and points it at Diane, filming her. She suggests that maybe they could take a video of her, undress her, and send it to the group. The idea is to show everyone if she's really as innocent as she seems. This is the breaking point for Diane. Anger bubbles up inside her. She lunges at the girl who's been taunting her, tackling her to the ground. She tries to hit her, but her attack is interrupted when the girl screams that Diane bit her. Her friend quickly tries to pull her off, while the second girl continues filming. The girl with the phone smirks and says this will be proof that Diane is attacking her classmates. In the chaos, Diane feels completely defeated. She thinks to herself that the world is cold and cruel, full of unfairness. Her heart sinks as she wonders how she can keep living in a world that seems so harsh. She feels as though she has no choice but to hide her real self, pretending to be someone else. Maybe if she grows a tougher side, something more like a monster with fangs, then things might get better. Some time passes, and now Diane is sitting at a gaming club with a man, someone she knows. He blows a puff of smoke from his cigarette and comments that he never thought someone so beautiful could be so good at gaming. Diane smiles at him, appreciating the compliment. She tells him that she should thank him for helping her deal with the bullies at school. The man hugs her, saying it's nothing. Then with a casual smile, he tells her that if she becomes his girlfriend, he'll make sure no one bothers her anymore. This surprises Diane, and she nervously asks, didn't he once say that he saw her as a little sister? The man calmly responds that they could only move forward if there's any real connection between them. Diane's face darkens. She feels a sudden wave of discomfort. She realizes that this might be the price of the help he's been offering. She feels sick to her stomach, unsure if it's worth it. Suddenly, her thoughts are interrupted when another man grabs the hand of the guy sitting next to her and calls him a scumbag. The new guy angrily asks who he is. The man who grabbed his hand is none other than Shuang, the leader of the Daybreak guild. He's clearly displeased by what's happening and tells the guy that she's still a child. That man's friend whispers to him, saying that these people are from Daybreak and that it's better not to mess with them. The man, surprised, asks if they are really from Daybreak. Shuang tells them to leave the gaming club immediately and not show their faces there again. After they leave, Shuang turns to Diane, smiling. He praises her, saying that she played very well and asks if she's ever considered joining a guild or playing professionally. Diane, still a little confused, repeats his words. Shuang explains that he believes she has a natural talent for this, something special. He adds that Daybreak is always looking for people like her, those with real talent. Her eyes light up with excitement after hearing this. Back to the present, her body fills with determination, and she thinks to herself that she cannot lose. She wants to win, to shine brightly. She's representing the Daybreak Guild, and she won't let this chance slip away. With a determined look, she calls all her spirits to her side and activates the ability of 5 offensive-defensive circles. In an instant, 5 bright flashes of different colors shoot towards Luna. Diane stands back, watching confidently, sure that this will be the end. Luna prepares herself to defend. The flashes shoot past her and slam into the arena wall. The impact is so strong that a loud roar echoes through the air and a cloud of dust rises from the force of the attack. A large hole appears in the wall and the area around the strike is left in ruins. Diane breathes heavily, her chest rising and falling as she thinks she has won. The minister, watching closely, is shocked. His assistant, equally surprised, asks if Diane really broke through the wall. He wonders if Luna is even still alive. The friends of Luna become worried, calling out her name in panic. But Louli, ever calm, simply smiles slightly and gestures for the others to look below the arena. To everyone's surprise, Luna is standing there unharmed. Before the attack hit, she had plunged her sword into the arena wall and was standing on the blade. She used the space between the ground and the wall to shield herself from the full force of the strike. The minister and his assistant are stunned, wondering, how could this be possible? Luna jumps back into the arena, landing gracefully, and greets her opponent with a smile. Diane protests loudly, asking if this is really how the rules are supposed to work. The minister, not fazed, calmly explains that Luna didn't break any rules. He points out that Luna had stuck her sword into the arena wall, staying within the boundaries. There was no violation. Luna, with a determined look, now focuses on her opponent. She tells Diane that it's her turn. Diane, furious, waves her hand and orders her spirits to attack. She sneers at Luna, calling her arrogant and insisting that she won't be defeated. In response, Luna swings her sword and summons a lunar disc that flies forward with great speed. The fire and water streams from Diane's spirits collide with the disc, causing a loud roar. Steam instantly bursts from the point of impact, filling the air. The minister and his assistant comment on the spectacle, noting that Luna used a spinning technique to deflect Diane's fire and water attacks. The flames and water quickly turn into thick steam, creating a fog that fills the arena. Diane, unable to see clearly, curses mentally as the steam blinds her. She's in trouble, but Luna is already on the move, using her moonlight execution ability. Bright flashes of light begin to appear in the fog, catching Diane off guard. She looks up just in time to see the flashes falling from the air. Diane has no choice but to raise a barrier, desperately trying to protect herself. The flashes continue to rain down, piercing the fog and striking her spirits. Luna isn't done. She uses giant sword slash technique, summoning the largest flash of all, which hovers above Diane's barrier. Quickly, Diane reacts, raising her hand to command her spirits to strengthen the barrier from above. But this effort leaves her vulnerable on the sides. Luna, seeing her chance, appears behind Diane, a smile playing on her lips. She tells Diane that she's been caught and it was all just a flicker, so quick, so subtle. Diane freezes in shock, realizing too late that she's been outmaneuvered. Before she can react, Luna strikes, delivering a final blow. Diane falls to the floor, injured. The fog begins to clear, and now everyone can see what's happened. Luna stands victorious. The minister looks around, asking if the fog has cleared. He seems surprised to see that Luna has defeated Diane. It's Luna's victory now. Diane, still in shock, stares at the floor. Her spirits have disappeared, and she mutters that she is lost. But just as she begins to accept defeat, Luna reaches out her hand to help her up. A sun breaks through the clouds above, casting a warm ray of light over the arena. Luna smiles and says that she hopes they'll have a good fight again in the future. After the match ends, the minister announces that Luna, as participant number 7, has secured the last spot in the top 8. He adds that now Louli's group will face the Daybreak Guild. The atmosphere is filled with anticipation. This is going to be a thrilling challenge. The minister's excitement grows as he says that the next 4 fights will be intense, filled with strong opponents. Only the best will move on to the next stage. Who will win and who will fall? The future will reveal the answers. After the intense battle, the maintenance team rushes into the arena, immediately getting to work. The damage from the fight is significant, and the minister comments on the enormous destruction caused. He tells the audience to be patient while the team seals all the holes and strengthens the arena. Chile approaches Luna with a bright smile, clearly excited. She happily praises Luna, saying how amazing she was. Chile had been worried throughout the fight. Luna, modest as always, says that her opponent was very strong. She tells Chile that it was all thanks to the information gleaned from her match with her that she was able to turn the tables. She looks toward the Daybreak Guild and feels a bit of pressure, especially when she thinks about the strong team members like Diane. Meanwhile, Diane, still struggling with her emotions, walks up to her guild leader. Her eyes are filled with tears and disappointment. She apologizes, feeling like she's not strong enough to be part of the team. She believes she has only embarrassed the Daybreak Guild. The leader of the Daybreak Guild notices her distress and calmly walks over. Diane flinches, thinking he might be angry. However, to her surprise, he simply pats her on the head and tells her not to speak such nonsense. He reassures her that she is talented, and even though she hasn't been with the team for long, she has a bright future ahead. He reminds her that it's normal to face challenges and tells her not to underestimate their opponents. He believes that their team will be able to enjoy the real fun of the competition soon. After a short while, the minister announces that the audience seems to be getting tired of waiting. His assistant agrees with a smile. The minister then says that the arena has been repaired and is now ready for the next fight. The assistant announces that the next competitors are ready to enter the arena. Contestant number 4, Louli, will be up against contestant number 5, Feya. Both Louli and Feya enter the arena and lock their eyes. Feya, with a wide grin, eagerly says that it's good to finally face Louli again, and this time, no one will interrupt their fight. They both need a good, solid match. Louli, looking calm and indifferent, draws his blade and responds that it will be exactly as Feya says. The minister, sensing the tension and excitement in the arena, notes that this will be a fight like no other. Louli and Feya are clearly ready to give it their all. And just as he said, as soon as the signal is given, both Louli and Feya rush toward each other. Their blades clash with a loud clang, and the force of the impact sends a shockwave through the arena. The ground beneath them cracks, and the arena shakes with a tremendous crash. The minister leans forward, his eyes wide in disbelief. He exclaims in shock, wondering if they've already destroyed the arena again. His assistant, equally surprised, points out that this was only their first clash. The minister, now in disbelief, exclaims that the arena had been strengthened 10 times, but it still can't withstand their power. Despite the shock and surprise from the onlookers, Louli and Feya continue their fight, showing no signs of slowing down. With each swing of their weapons, sparks fly, lighting up the arena. Feya, with a confident smile, swings his sword and lands a powerful hit on Louli's shoulder. Louli tries to parry, but the blow catches him off guard and he is forced to take a step back. The impact pulls him to the side, but Louli grits his teeth, quickly regaining his composure. He spins around and counters with a sweeping strike, aiming to push Feya back. However, Feya is quick. He strikes again, sending Louli flying backward. Despite the force, Louli manages to stay in the arena. Dust fills the air as the two warriors pause for a moment, catching their breath. Feya grins, clearly enjoying the fight. He comments that this is the kind of battle he enjoys. He adds that he can sense Louli has grown much stronger since their last fight, but he too has improved in his own way. Louli remains silent, his face showing no emotion. His focus is entirely on the battle, and it's clear he's not here to talk. Feya, sensing that the fight is about to get even fiercer, charges forward again, his sword raised high. They clash again, their figures briefly disappearing into a cloud of dust. The dust clears almost instantly, revealing sparks flying once more as their swords meet. The ground beneath them begins to crack from the intensity of their blows, but they don't stop. Another roar echoes through the arena as red and blue sparks scatter in all directions, along with debris from the floor. Feya's teammates watch eagerly from the sidelines. Shuang, arms crossed, comments that it's no surprise Louli is so confident. From what he sees, Louli is already at the level of professional players. He can sense the skill and precision in every movement, even in a one-on-one battle. On the other side of the arena, Luli's team is also watching the fight closely. Feya comments that Feya is incredibly assertive. This is the first time he's seen anyone who can truly challenge his brother's strength. Luna, standing beside him, agrees, noting that Feya not only has quick reflexes, but also intelligence. She believes he's fighting more on instinct, making him a difficult opponent to predict. It's clear that Feya is no simple adversary. Meanwhile, in the arena, after a series of fierce clashes, both Louli and Feya take a brief moment to distance themselves. The crowd watches with bated breath, waiting for the next move. Feya, wiping sweat from his brow, tosses off his outerwear with a confident grin. He taunts Louli, saying that what they've seen so far was just the warm-up. Now it's time for the real fight. In response, Louli casually takes off his cloak, his expression serious. There's no need for words now. It's time to give it their all. The two fighters rush toward each other with a renewed intensity, their movements like a blur. Feya strikes first, swinging his sword with expert precision. Louli, always prepared, exposes his blade to block the attack, preventing any harm. However, something unexpected happens. Feya grins widely as he throws his sword towards Louli, and to everyone's shock, the sword spins away on its own, leaving Louli momentarily confused. Louli tries to deflect, but in the process, his sword slips from his hand as well. Both swords fly through the air, spinning wildly before crashing to the floor with a loud thud. The arena falls into a stunned silence. The minister, watching from his seat, leans forward in surprise. He hadn't anticipated Feya would let go of his sword in such a calculated way, but it worked. Feya's quick thinking has disarmed both him and Louli, leaving them without weapons. The assistant, equally shocked, comments that the fight has escalated beyond what they expected. Neither fighter has their weapon now, and the fight has turned into something even more unpredictable. Both Louli and Feya stand facing each other, weaponless but not willing to back down. The intensity of the fight has only grown. It's now a battle of speed, strength, and strategy. The crowd is on the edge of their seats, waiting to see what these two warriors will do next. Feya clenches his fists tighter, his expression focused and determined as he slowly closes the distance between himself and Louli. In an instant, he swings his fist sharply toward Louli, aiming for a solid hit. But Louli, ever alert, ducks just in time, narrowly avoiding the punch. Feya doesn't stop though. He presses on, launching a series of fast and powerful punches toward his opponent. Louli skillfully blocks each one, but the attacks come so quickly that he can feel the pressure mounting. At one point, Feya's movements seem to change, a shift in his rhythm. He flashes a confident grin and warns Louli not to relax. Louli feels the change, sensing something more dangerous coming. Feya's fist suddenly begins to glow with a bright blue light, his energy surging. Without warning, he swings at Luli's head with incredible force. The punch lands, and Louli is sent crashing to the ground, blood spraying from the wound on his face. He hits the floor hard, but he's quick to react, using his hands to brace himself. He avoids hitting the ground fully. In a swift move, Louli pushes off the floor, his legs swinging with practiced precision. He kicks Feya in the chest with all his might, but Feya deflects the blow just in time. There's no pause for recovery. Without missing a beat, Louli leans forward, his foot pushing off the ground with explosive power. He leaps into the air and drives his knee directly into Feya's face. The sickening crunch of bone and impact echoes through the arena. Feya stumbles back, blood spilling from his mouth as he struggles to recover, but he doesn't fall. The two warriors stand glaring at each other, bloody but unyielding. The silence is brief before they charge at each other once more, fists raised, ready for another round. Louli strikes first, landing a solid punch to Feya's face. Feya retaliates from a punch of his own, and just like that, the battle intensifies again. They exchange blow after blow, their fists landing with brutal force, each one blocking and countering with precise timing. The ground beneath them shakes from the force of their attacks, and cracks begin to form in the arena floor as the battle rages on. At one point, Feya swings again, but Louli, sensing the attack, decides to pull back. He flips backward, executing a perfect somersault and landing a few meters away from his opponent. He takes a moment to catch his breath, his chest heaving with effort. Sweat drips down his forehead as he looks at Feya, his eyes narrowing in focus. He briefly looks away as if searching for a new strategy or perhaps to compose himself. Then, without warning, he starts circling his opponent, moving from side to side, his movements fluid and unpredictable. Feya, now more than ready, braces himself. Louli throws a punch with all his strength, but Feya blocks it effortlessly, his smile never fading. He taunts Louli, asking if he's exhausted yet, his voice dripping with confidence. Blood trickles from Feya's mouth, but he seems unfazed, even smiling through the pain. He reminds Louli not to relax, adding that there is a big opening. Then, without giving Louli a chance to recover, Feya strikes fast and hard, landing a powerful blow to Louli's stomach. The impact is brutal, and the sound of the punch echoing in the air is sharp like a crack of thunder. Blood splatters from the wound, staining the floor as Louli is thrown back. The force of the blow sends him flying, and in that brief moment, Feya watches as the blood from his opponent forms a half circle in the air, suspended for a moment in time. It's almost as if everything slows down, the scene hanging on a single breath. But Louli isn't done yet. Despite the pain, he doesn't fall. His feet slam against the floor of the arena, and two trails of dust kick up behind him as he pushes himself back. There's a slight grin on his face, barely noticeable, but it's enough for Feya to catch a glimpse of it. His smile quickly vanishes, and a sense of dread fills his chest. He recognizes this move. He knows he has messed up. He curses under his breath, his heart racing. This was the exact moment he had been warned about. Feya's eyes widen as he realizes what Louli is planning. In that instant, everything clicks into place. Feya had been outmaneuvered. He had been tricked into focusing on Louli's previous attacks, underestimating his next move. Louli is charging toward their weapons. Noticing this, his heart sinks. It's too late to stop him now. Before Feya can react, Louli grabs his dagger and launches himself at his opponent. In a flash, he slashes Feya's chest in a sharp cross, cutting through his defenses. The attack lands with precision, the sound of the blade slicing through the air almost drowned by the collective gasp of the audience. On the sidelines, Afi jumps up in excitement. He can't believe it. His big brother has done it again. Huozhou, equally thrilled, is practically jumping for joy, her admiration for Louli growing with each move. She playfully whispers that her husband, who's been through so many battles, just keeps getting more and more attractive. Clearly, she's more than a little infatuated. But for the Daybreak Guild members, the mood is tense. They can hardly believe what they're witnessing. Diane says no way, even the fourth brother got defeated. Despite the shock, Shuang remains calm. He's seen this kind of thing before. He knows that Feya, like a wild wolf, is a fighter who thrives in chaos. Anyone who faces him gets caught in his rhythm, overwhelmed by the intensity of the fight. It's easy to be swept away, to be distracted by the frenzy. But wolves, as Shuang reminds everyone, are clever, not just wild. And Feya is no different. He's a strategist, always planning ahead. Feya's eyes flicker with renewed determination. He's not done yet. He accosts Louli, his voice sharp and filled with a sense of finality. It's too bad, he says, his grin returning. He teases Louli, commenting that he was just one hit away from victory. Then, with a sudden surge of energy, Feya releases a massive wave of power that sends Louli flying backward. Feya's passive skill, Blood Hymn, gets activated. His feet sink into the ground as he readies himself, focusing his power. The skill works like a hidden force. When his health drops, his attack power increases. It's a dangerous trick that makes him stronger the more damage he takes. Louli watches closely, feeling a sense of unease as his opponent charges forward. Feya's strike is fast and powerful. In an instant, Louli is sent flying back, struggling to maintain his balance. He's shocked. He knows that he can't take on this new, more powerful version of Feya head-on. His opponent is twice as strong now, and each strike is heavier than before. Louli tries to defend himself with his dagger, but Feya presses the attack relentlessly. The sound of metal against metal rings out in the air as they clash. Louli is forced to retreat, blocking the strike with difficulty. His shoulder gets cut by the glancing blow. The ground beneath them cracks and shakes from the force of the attack. In the stands, the spectators are stunned. They watch as the arena trembles under the pressure of the battle. Some can't believe the destruction caused by just one strike. The minister, though, has seen enough chaos by now that he only shakes his head and smiles, commenting that they'll just have to get used to it. Feya, grinning confidently, asks Louli if he plans to dodge this attack too. The challenge is clear in his eyes. He's pushing Louli to his limits, knowing that he's the one in control now. But Louli isn't done yet. His mind races as he prepares for the next move. He knows he can't match Feya's strength directly, but he's far from finished. Feya senses Louli closing in. He quickly reacts. His confidence is unshaken. He believes he's already in control of the fight. With a smirk, he wonders why Louli is still trying so hard, as if he hasn't already sealed his victory. Feya attacks with precision, but what he doesn't realize is that Louli has already activated Backstab, teleporting behind him. The move is meant to catch Feya off guard, but Feya, sharp as ever, senses the shift in the air and immediately counterattacks. Before Louli can land his blow, he's thrown back with incredible force. Feya scoffs, remarking that Louli is too slow. Not one to give up easily, Louli tries again. He attempts another backstab, but Feya is already one step ahead, jumping and blocking his move before Louli can even strike. The fight is becoming increasingly intense. In the stands, Afi grows concerned, watching his brother struggle. It's the first time he's seen Louli on the defensive like this, and his worry is palpable. Huajiao, however, is seething with anger. She clenches her fists and mutters under her breath, threatening the man who dares to hurt her husband. Meanwhile, little Chile wonders if this is what a real master duel feels like, the kind of fight where every move matters and the stakes are nothing less than life and death. On the contrary, Shuang is watching the fight with quiet confidence. He believes his guild member, Feya, has this battle in the bag. In his mind, it's only a matter of time before Feya claims victory. The crowd is on edge, waiting for the final moments of this intense clash. Both fighters have been battling fiercely in the air, their movements a blur of speed and precision. But after a while, they both descend, landing back on the stage. Feya stands tall, lifting his sword with a grin. He acknowledges Louli's strength, admitting that this has been one of the best fights he's ever had. But he also knows that every chase must eventually come to an end. It's time to finish it. With a confident gesture, he activates his skill, hunting technique along with the forced battle intent. This combination locks Louli in place, making it impossible for him to dodge Feya's next attack. For 10 seconds, Louli is vulnerable and the damage Feya deals increases by 20%. Feya points his sword at Louli, preparing to deliver the final blow with his strongest attack, Wolf Storm. Louli, although exhausted, smiles. He admits to himself that he hasn't had such a challenging and exciting fight in a long time, but he's not finished yet. With a swift movement, Louli summons his second weapon. It's a surprise for Feya, something he didn't expect. Louli, with a smirk, tells Feya that he forgot to mention something important. He uses two weapons. Feya's surprise is evident, but Louli isn't finished explaining. He recalls how, when he defeated the Saint Light Guild leader, he was awarded the legendary White Bay and Hidden Dragon in the Abyss. The Hidden Dragon in the Abyss is no ordinary weapon. It's a powerful, rare piece of equipment designed specifically for assassins. It has a durability of 100, and its real power lies in its ability to split into two separate blades. With each hit, it leaves a mark on the target. The more hits, the stronger the damage becomes, with the potential to inflict up to 240% additional damage. The Hidden Dragon glows, and Louli prepares to unleash its full power. Feya realizes too late that he's underestimated his opponent. This fight is far from over. The tension in the arena is palpable as both combatants prepare for their final moves. The fight isn't just about strength anymore, it's about skill, strategy, and the unexpected. Louli's weapons now seem like the game changer, and Feya is left to deal with the consequences. The battle, once seemingly in his favor, has taken a dramatic turn. The atmosphere in the arena is electric as Feya and Louli prepare for their final clash. Feya laughs, enjoying the intensity of the battle. He's impressed by Louli's strength, recognizing that this is the kind of opponent he's been waiting for. But Louli is equally determined to show him that there's more to him than what's been seen so far. With a shared sense of anticipation, both fighters rush at each other, unleashing their full power. The arena shakes as their massive energy radiates outward, creating a gust of wind that sweeps through the stadium. Dust flies everywhere, obscuring the view, and the pressure from their attacks feels almost tangible. The minister and his assistant quickly duck for cover, the power of the clash so overwhelming that it feels like the entire arena might collapse. The minister asks if the battle is over, but his assistant warns to hold on, as the dust has not settled yet. The tension rises as the dust finally begins to clear. The crowd holds its breath, waiting to see the victor. When it dissipates completely, the result is clear. Louli has emerged victorious. He's the one who stands tall, having won the intense battle and secured his place in the top 4. The minister is stunned. He had expected this to be the final fight, given how intense and fierce the battle was. The idea that this was only the fight for the top 4 positions seems like a surprise to him. Meanwhile, Wei Jian, watching from the sidelines, is stunned. The fourth brother, who was once thought unbeatable, lost in a straight-up brawl, a rare and surprising outcome. Diane, too, is left speechless. She had been watching closely, even though Feya used his blood hymn and force battle intent to increase his damage, she can't understand how he still lost. She wonders, with all that power, how could he have been defeated? Shuang is equally shocked, especially because in the final exchange of moves, it was clear that Feya dealt more damage. So why did he lose? The answer, as Shuang quickly figures out, is that Feya became too greedy. He focused too much on the attack power granted by his blood hymn and force battle intent, leaving his own health too low to withstand the final blows. What's even more intriguing is that Shuang senses something deeper about Louli. He feels that Louli has not yet unleashed his full strength. There's something more hidden beneath the surface, another level of power that Louli has yet to bring out. Shuang finds Louli fascinating. Despite his overwhelming power, Louli remains cautious, calculating, and never fully letting go of his control. This makes him an even more dangerous opponent and one that Shuang doesn't intend to underestimate. Louli, after his hard-fought victory, helps Feya to his feet. He asks the injured fighter how he's feeling. Feya, still impressed by Louli's skill, admits that Louli had played his cards close to his chest. He recognizes that his own carelessness in the final moments led to his defeat. Despite the loss, Feya is genuinely satisfied. He adds that Louli's final move, the Hidden Dragon in the Abyss, was a real game-changer. Even though he lost, Feya appreciates the challenge and expresses his respect for Louli's abilities. Louli, in return, says that this was the most exhilarating battle he's had since he started playing the game. He explains how he exploited the timing of the fight, taking advantage of every opportunity, and that it was a true test of skill. Feya, still in good spirits despite the loss, asks Louli if he would be interested in joining their Daybreak guild. He even offers him the coveted position of number 3 in the guild, but Louli, ever determined, politely declines. He has other things to focus on, something important he needs to do. Feya isn't discouraged, though. He assures Louli that even if they can't be teammates, they can still be friends. He offers his help, telling Louli that he's always there for his friends, no questions asked. Feya even suggests they grab a BBQ and a couple of drinks sometime, which Louli agrees to after all. Who can turn down a good BBQ? Meanwhile, the minister, watching the scene unfold, reflects on the sheer intensity of the battle. He realizes that this fight has been a real spectacle for the audience, and he's concerned about the damage caused by the battle. He turns to his secretary, a little out of breath from all the action. He calmly tells the secretary to send a message to His Majesty, asking how much more reinforcement the arena needs. His secretary turns to the minister with a concerned look and asks if he thinks the upcoming battles will be even more intense than the one they just witnessed. The minister ponders this for a moment. He doesn't want to admit it, but he knows that it's very likely. If the fighters keep going at this pace, the arena, and maybe even the audience, will be in trouble long before a champion is crowned. He sighs, realizing that the excitement of these battles might come with a heavy price. Meanwhile, the king watches the tournament quietly from his private chamber. He's taking in the action but knows that this kind of destruction can't go on forever. Suddenly, a man appears before him, asking for instructions. The king raises an eyebrow and wonders what's going on. The man explains that the host is asking for guidance on how much more the arena should be reinforced. Without hesitation, the king orders that the arena be reinforced to its highest level. He doesn't want any delays. The competition must continue, and the fights must go on. The man quickly nods, understanding the urgency, and promises to relay the king's orders to the host right away. The king, however, is thinking beyond just repairs. He's focused on finding the strongest warrior, someone capable of doing the impossible. There's not much time left, and he knows the tournament can't last forever. His mind is already racing, planning ahead. Soon the repairs are completed. The host addresses the crowd with a grateful smile. He thanks the audience for their patience, acknowledging that the delay was necessary. He assures them that thanks to the support of the king, the arena is now stronger than ever. This time, it won't collapse again. The structure has been reinforced to the highest level, making it far more resilient than before. The audience reacts with applause, excited that the tournament can continue. The minister, eager to move forward, announces that the next duel is about to begin. No more delays. He introduces the next two contestants. Feya, contestant number 26, is up against Daybreak Guild's Shuang, contestant number 1. The crowd buzzes with anticipation, ready for the next showdown. Feya stands on the stage, eyes wide with surprise. He's suddenly hit with the realization that he's facing Shuang, the Daybreak Guild's boss, and he wonders if this is some sort of intentional setup. Why was he matched against someone so strong? He's a little shaken, but then his thoughts take an unexpected turn. If he somehow manages to win this battle against the guild master, he'd definitely make a name for himself. His victory would earn him the title of MVP, and little Chile would surely notice him. Maybe she'd even get so impressed that she'd ask him out on a date. His mind starts to wander as he imagines their date. He wonders if they'd go for hot pot or perhaps Western food. Maybe after, they'd take a nice stroll and then catch a movie together. Afi grins at the thought, imagining himself as the hero of his own love story, completely lost in his daydreams. But his laughter is short-lived. Shuang, always serious, suddenly speaks up. He asks Afe if he knows what the first thing a magician should do when facing a warrior is. Afe is caught off guard, blinking in confusion. Before he can even think of an answer, Shuang rushes toward him with surprising speed. In an instant, he's closing the distance between them, and Afe realizes that this isn't going to be as easy as he thought. Shuang's voice cuts through his thoughts, create distance. Afe's eyes widen as he's forced to react quickly. He had expected his opponent to be slow and maybe a little clumsy based on his appearance, but Shuang proves him wrong. The guild master moves with lightning speed, catching Afe off guard. Afe tries to cast his magic, but before he can even finish the incantation, Shuang interrupts it easily. In the midst of the chaos, Shuang calls out to him with a hint of amusement in his voice, asking why didn't he use his left hand to cast. This way, the casting distance is shorter, and the chances of him interrupting it are smaller. Afe, now fully focused on the battle, curses under his breath. It seems he has a lot to learn if he's going to stand a chance against this skilled opponent. His earlier fantasies of a romantic date feel like a distant dream now. Afe, now growing frustrated and exhausted, throws a flame at Shuang, trying to land a hit. He mutters under his breath that it's just a fluke and that Shuang should stop acting so high and mighty. However, his confidence quickly fades when once again, his casting is interrupted before he can fully unleash his magic. The cycle repeats itself. Every time he tries to cast, his opponent easily stops him. Each failure makes Afe more furious, and the exhaustion from the constant interruptions starts to wear on him. His frustration builds, and he decides it's time to use one of his strongest spells, Fire Comets. Shuang, however, watches with a calm smile. He acknowledges Afe's decision, quietly appreciating that the young magician is finally thinking strategically. Creating distance and using an area of effect skill like Fire Comets was the right move. Shuang knows this. It's exactly what Afe should be doing to disrupt his rhythm. The strategy is solid, but it's too late. Afe is too emotionally compromised now, and his fighting spirit is fading. With every failed attempt, he's losing his edge. Shuang moves in with ease, interrupting every single casting. Shuang calmly calls out, telling Afe that he can't win this battle as he is right now. With a slight pause, he adds he should surrender. Afe stands there, breathing heavily, his hands shaking with frustration. He knows Shuang is right, but the thought of surrendering feels like a blow to his pride. He's stuck in a battle between his emotions and his survival instincts. I hope that you liked today's video, and if you did, hit that like button as today's like goal is 1,500 likes. Comment next part down below for the next part. Also, consider subscribing with the notification bell on to get notified as soon as a new video drops onto the channel. You can also join the channel to support me financially and watch videos before public release. I'll meet you in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching.